Hello, good day. I'm very happy, very excited to see you in this video today. In fact, I'm very excited. Thank you for staying tuned to this channel. Thank you. Keep staying tuned. You that you have subscribed, thank you very much. It means a lot to us. Are you that you have not subscribed? Kindly subscribe to this channel so you can enjoy wonderful and very relevant contents that you will find very amazingly beneficial to you. And each time you watch any of our video, or every time you watch the videos, kindly comment, kindly like, and kindly share as widely as possible. Today, I'll be talking about a very important component of research. In fact, maybe it's one of the most misunderstood part of research methodology. What is that? Limitation of study. Limitation of study is usually the last part of methodology after ethical consideration. But some people have seen many theses, dissertations, projects, research reports putting their limitation of study at the last part of their conclusion or after conclusion or recommendation. No, it should be part of methodology, because that's the part that will let us know what you did and how you did it, and everything that has to do with the methodology of that work. That is where it should be, because it's also part of your methodological development or issues. Let me also say upfront that it's not compulsory you put limitation of study in your research report or your project. It's only if you feel so compelled because of happenings during the fieldwork and you think you want to put it, or because there are some things that came up when you are writing up and you discover that, okay, this is a major issue for me, so let me just explain it, or let me justify why this is the situation. So you may not put. So it's not compulsory that you have a limitation of study. Also, it's very important for you to know that limitation of study does not necessarily mean those things that will reduce the usefulness of relevance of your work. I've seen many people put limitation of study as though is placing limit on their research. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I love that. As though those are the things that are placing limit on the acceptability, relevance, validity, reliability of their work. They keep, sometimes they are very apologetic in writing their limitation of study. No, it's very wrong. From my experience, and I've seen so many works, I've read so many books, and I've also done works on methodology. I've done many researches also. Well, quite a number, a lot. So limitation of study is not compulsory and does not mean those things that place limit on your work. Limitation of study simply means those challenges that you faced when you are doing your work, and you must now indicate how you were able to overcome those challenges. You were also able to tell us what are those developments that you will have, or those things. Limitation of study simply means those things you will have done in the context of your work, but you could not for some reasons. That's what it is. It doesn't mean those things, those big problems, those things you should have done but you didn't do, that ultimately might affect your work. No. There are those challenges you faced. Indicate those challenges, why you faced those challenges, and more importantly, how you were able to overcome those challenges such that you were still able to do the work and do the work fantastically. And how you were able to overcome those challenges to the extent that, yeah, your work was still done and we can still rely on your work. Justify. What are those problems? How did you overcome them? And we can now see directly or indirectly how you were a fantastic researcher and now your work is still relevant. Then the second leg of the narrative is the fact that what are those things you could have done in your work but you could not do, but they do not necessarily affect the usefulness or reliability or validity of your work. They do not affect the finesse of your work. It's just that you will have done them, but you could not do them within the scope of your work, within the context of your work. Therefore, there could be suggestions for further studies, which you can do For example, if you are undergraduate in your project, you couldn't do all of this, you can then take them on in your masters. You can take them on your PhD. If it's a research report, an operational research or rapid survey, you can then do a phase 2 or phase 3 of that research to cover those areas. For example, you may have limitation of study in the area, maybe you would have loved to triangulate. That is, maybe you will have used a mixed method approach, but you only used survey, or you only used quantitative method. You couldn't use qualitative, but you believe that it would have been better to triangulate, but you could not triangulate, or you did only qualitative study, qualitative research, but you believe you will have triangulated or mixed the method with survey, quantitative, but you couldn't. But you only did purely qualitative. That does not mean your work is less useful or relevant. It simply means you could not do, or maybe you will have used larger samples if you did survey, or you will have purposely selected more people if you used qualitative, but you couldn't. Maybe there could be reasons for those reasons. There could be reasons for your not being able to cover those areas, or maybe you will have expanded your geography to include the whole country to do census, but you only have to do sampling. Why is this? You have to explain to us why were you not able to triangulate. Triangulation means combining 2 or more methods in the same research. That's what triangulation means, in case you are coming in contact with that concept for the first time. Triangulation means combination of more than one method, or more than 2 methods, or using many methods in a single research. That means you can do quantitative and qualitative. You can do questionnaire and in-depth interview. These are areas I will still talk about in some videos in the future. So triangulation means combining many methods in a single research. So maybe you could not triangulate, but you only did survey, or you only did qualitative, or you were not able to cover larger geographies. You were only able to cover a section. You were not able to cover the target population. You were only able to do study population, a subset. I did a video on study population, or population of study. So you're only able to select a component of the total population. Fine. You now tell us why you had to do that. You will not tell us how you were able to do that, and how what you did can still be taken to be very relevant. Just justify. And the reason you may not be able to cover more than that could be on the account of fund. Maybe you didn't have enough money. You were only able to do little bit with the available fund, or you didn't have sufficient softwares to do the work. Maybe you didn't have the sufficient competence to do the work. Maybe you just believe that doing what you have done is enough. Or maybe it could be on account of time. Maybe you didn't have enough time, or other resources, infrastructure. Therefore, you decide to focus what you have done along that line. So just explain. Then further studies can do that. Even you can do that in subsequent studies in the future. So that's what limitation of study means. Stop you looking at limitation of study as those things that have placed a limit on the relevance of your work. It just simply means what should you have done more that you didn't do? What were the challenges, and how did you overcome these challenges? And how can we still use this your work as a springboard to understanding human society the more? And how can we still rely on what you have done to consider what you have done reliable and valid? Maybe you did only qualitative. Well, it doesn't mean that it's not useful. Only that you may not be able to generalize. And qualitative method does not even want to generalize in the first instance. It's quantitative or survey that sometimes you want to generalize. You can't do census. You can't cover everybody, so you sample. Therefore, it may affect your generalization. So you may not be able to generalize. That may be a leap because you choose a sample, because you choose a very unique population. You may not be able to generalize your finding. That may be a limitation. But that does not mean that the findings you have gotten within the unique group of people cannot still be used. It's still useful. So you may not be able to generalize. That may be a limitation, but that does not mean that what you have gotten is still not useful. So you just tell us how useful is that. So that's what limitation of study means. So that's what it is. So it's not a problem at all. Limitation of study, you want to say, go and write your limitation of study. I've seen some students, some will start become depressed or be so sad. I say, this thing will affect my work. It's not true. It simply means what you should have done, you didn't do on account of some reasons, like I mentioned, or challenges you faced, and how do you overcome them, and how we can rely on what you have done. Fantastic area of methodology. I enjoy reading it. It just shows that you're a fantastic scholar and you are human. You can't do everything. That's why you call it research. People will still search again. You have searched. You have researched. So people will still search again. So let's not discover what you cannot cover. And your work is well done. Until I see you in the next video, subscribe to the channel, share widely, like, and comment. Thank you very much, and go and be the best.